Hey team, happy Wednesday. I have a couple updates for you this week. So here we go. We have several new hires coming in and several more to hire just to kind of help keep up with our growth and replace team members who are either on leave or have left us. So this week we're welcoming a new night nurse named Rachel Thibodeau, a new pet care specialist, Carly Presley, and a new bather who's starting next week named JC New. So welcome to you three. We're so happy to have you. Again, we're going to continue to my current team, hiring additional nurses and then probably another bather as well, just to kind of, again, help keep up with the demands that summertime is going to bring us. Really exciting news because we're hiring all these team members and that seems to be a trend as well as space an issue. We've decided to go ahead and rent the apartment unit that's next door to the one where our management office is. Management is currently in Unit C, so we have also rented Unit D, which we'll use for additional meeting space, storage, and then to have a Sprout School hospital set up. So we'll have a space where we will have an exam room table for practice. We'll have a computer set up with Avamark and maybe a training desk. We'll have a client area so we can practice what happens there, and then again storage closet. So that'll happen in the bedroom of the apartment. The living room of the apartment will have some desk space, but mostly conference tables for meetings and trainings that we have. So really excited to have that unit available on June 1st. We'll be moving in. In other progress reports, we have finished the expansion of the deck. Now we are pulling up some broken boards or boards where we have plant growth or tree regrowth from underneath, and we're taking care of killing those trees to make the deck in the daycare yard ultra safe. That's happening today now and probably will be finished tomorrow. And then also tonight, Wednesday night, we will have the turf going into the daycare yard where it's been missing for all these years, as well as filling in just a few other little broken or missing spaces. And that finishes the resort daycare yard updates, leaving only the cat condos to be finished at the resort. So we're really happy with that. We should be finished with everything within the next week or so. Really, really grateful for everybody who has put in some extra time or made some kind of extra concessions around working around the construction and the chaos that comes up with that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Very proud to say that we're done there. Next thing that we're going to start working on also is painting within the hospital, keeping the gray for now, and just adding some better accent colors that'll kind of just flow with everything. So any rooms, this is the easiest way to say this, any rooms that are currently yellow or the terracotta red will be replaced within probably the next 2 to 3 weeks completed. So we'll be pulling things off the wall, kind of decluttering, getting rid of the things that we're not going to hang back up. So please just watch your spaces. The space that I'm really concerned about, that we communicated well with our painting team about, is the isolation room that needs to be painted. So we're going to wait just for the right time where we don't have a patient in that room. It should take probably about 3 to 4 hours to paint and dry. They are really, really quick. And they're going to replace the ceiling tiles in there as well, and then a patient can go right in. So hopefully we don't have any overlap or conflict during that time. If we do, I'm sure we can set something up with maybe like a wire crate in the surgery prep area or something like that. Maybe utilizing, the bathroom or something for that isolated pet until we can get them settled back into the hospital. Just wanted to preview that may be a slight hiccup or disruption, but it shouldn't be lasting. Please don't panic about it. The best thing about that room is that it's got the double exhaust, so it should dry really quickly and remove the fumes really quickly. Just wanted to let you know that's coming. Very, very exciting coming up as well. Dr. Kristen and Dr. Olivia will be putting on a CE in the daycare room on June 5th. It's going to be kind of a double header. They're doing noon and 6 p.m. Everyone is welcome to this meeting. It is mandatory for the resort staff as we head into the heat of a Louisiana summer. So bring your own lunch for that meeting or your own dinner snack, whatever. Please try and come. This is great information, literal life-saving information. Great tips on how we can prevent these things, as well as how we recover from a heat stroke type situation if a client finds their pets ended up there. So it's really good information for everybody within our practice, no matter which position that you're in. Please make sure you come to that June 5th, noon and 6 p.m. Thank you to Dr. Chris and Dr. Olivia for preparing for this and putting it on. We're really looking forward to it. All right, very, very exciting going forward. This is something that we've been toying around with for a while. Kind of a lot of businesses have a guarantee of sorts. I always joke and say it kind of makes me think when there is a guarantee on a service that it's like pizza, right? I don't even know if they do this anymore, but they used to always say or joke about if you don't get your pizza in 30 minutes, it's free, right? So that's a guarantee. Or, if you don't like us, we'll give you your money back. We guarantee that you're going to be pleased with the service. Some of those things are really hard for us to imagine as a business doing because what we do is very complex and very personal, and it's medicine, and there's no guarantees in medicine. But there are aspects of our service that you could say that we guarantee, and I think it's our availability. We've opened ourselves up as a business to being open 24/7. And that's pretty brilliant, I think, and it's a big move, and it's, I think, something that we should continue to promote because it really carries us along and allows us to afford everybody's salary, and it's obviously been really fruitful in how we've grown our business. So we want to put a guarantee around that. We guarantee our availability, basically. So we are going to guarantee a same-day sick patient appointment, or we will give them $50 off of their visit. So here's how this will look. We have a line item in Avamark for $50 off same day sick pet appointment. So you would utilize that if we were not able to get a client in on the same day that their pet was sick and they called. Now, there are some limitations to that. I want you to imagine that it's a 24-hour kind of wheel. So if somebody calls at 10 a.m. and reports that their pet is sick, although we may not be able to see them for an open appointment until 10 p.m., that is the same day. It may not be with the veterinarian that they requested, but we will see them the same day. Now, same kind of situation. Let's say that a client calls at 10 p.m. and we're not able to get them in until 1 a.m. I want you to kind of stand up and advocate for our practice to say, well, we got you in within 3 hours, and that's pretty good. We offered you to come and wait, but you chose not to. If somebody really pressed the situation, I'd be willing to give them $50 off. It can't be combined with any other offer, so they can't say, hey, here's my new client coupon for $100, and then also I want to use this $50 off guarantee void. It's one or the other, really, at that point. I would assume that they would choose the $100 off. So in other words, it can't be combined with any other offer. However, we guarantee that we're available. So this is something that would be good for existing clients, for new clients. It's a guarantee that we're going to continue to market. I do not believe that we will use or should use this often, and it's because we are available. We have open appointments every day at some point in the day, even in the very early hours of the morning or the very late hours of the evening or night. We are available. We have these openings, and so I'm counting on our team to really concentrate on the fact that this is guaranteed. Just like the pizza example, how do you think that they could take that risk of guaranteeing a free pizza if it's not delivered in 30 minutes? Because they were coaching their team on delivering pizzas within 30 minutes, and that was the expectation of the team members. You have to deliver this service and this pizza within 30 minutes, or we're not going to be able to collect our money and we're not going to be able to pay you. So I'm encouraging our team, be really smart with the schedule. Don't overbook. Don't squeeze appointments in. Utilize appointment times that are appropriate Follow the appointment scheduling techniques that we've taught you that sometimes get ignored. Put appointments on the schedule in an appropriate way so that we can fit patients in the same day. Now, I am not implying that I don't want you to fill a doctor's schedule. Quite the opposite. Everything is in the purpose and in the idea generation of filling a doctor's schedule. But be smart about it. Don't overbook, don't underbook. Be aware. And then try and get people in the same day when they're sick, because we guarantee it. So there's a little bit of added pressure for you as team members who are scheduling, but I think it's totally appropriate. You know, my expectation here is that we want to deliver on availability. So continue to book smart. There's always availability. I've never seen one day where we were completely booked for every single doctor at every time. I think this is something extra that's attention getting to clients, to say, wow, hey, they actually guarantee how available they are all the time, that I think that they would very rarely call us on it. And if they do, again, it's less of a cost to our practice than a lot of other marketing tools that we're already currently using is. So if we have to use it, so be it. That's what it's there for. All right, so there's a line item in there. Now you know the why, now you know the how, and you know what to do if you have to utilize that code. Okay, the next thing is, last week we spoke about exotic pet care in that chart. I just wanted to remind everybody that if we are not able to see an exotic pet, if we have a doctor on staff and available who's not able to see the pet that's being demanded to be seen, we can refer them to the LSU Small Animal Clinic. At the bottom of that chart, we have the contact information, being the phone number, the address, etc. So you can get that information to the client and direct them there. Also, it's in Q&A under veterinarians as the LSU Small Animal Clinic contact. Just wanted to remind you that that's the process that we're expecting you to follow, and those are the locations where you can find that information. This last week, we also added a new, I'm calling it an extra mini fridge because it's very, very small, but we added a mini fridge to the hospital front desk that's going to be used to store refrigerated medications for clients who are picking up. So I want you to make sure that you put those things in there in an orderly fashion. We utilize the little shelf as kind of a front gate, so when you open the fridge, everything doesn't fall out. So you would put the client's refrigerated medication in a bag, put the bag in the refrigerator and leave it there. You would no longer use the fridge area that's in the pharmacy to store those medications. For the front desk team, or for anybody who's checking a client out who comes to pick up those medications, you have to open the bag to make sure that everything that they're paying for and that they needed is in that one bag, because sometimes clients get some medications that are refrigerated and some that are not. So I would want to make sure that you do that appropriately and check every time. I like to count items as well. So if I see that there are 3 items on their invoice, I should see those 3 items in front of me when I'm checking a client out. You have to do it. These little simple steps, if you work them into your routine, prevent us from making mistakes. Speaking of making mistakes, we have started our Right the Wrong meeting series, where we're trying to meet with everyone individually this week, as well as some meetings next week. Everyone has to attend these Right the Wrong meetings. We're taking attendance. We're looking to make sure that you made it. Arrive on time. It's really important that we start and we get you all this information, because we are talking about just that. We're talking about when we make a mistake, how do we make it right for the client? So there's some techniques that are involved in it, as well as excuse me, as well as some specific things that we want you to be able to offer to right the wrong yourself, instead of always feeling like you have to involve someone above you or someone else with more knowledge or whatever is going on. We want to make that very clear and very easy for you. So make sure that you've attended those meetings. We've done 2 so far. They've gone really, really well. It's an easy concept. It's just something that we have to get to everyone, and we want to do it in person. So be sure of that. I also want to remind, off of last week's meeting, kind of a little bit of a newer concept that I'd like to repeat. For filling prescriptions that clients call into us. So if they call requesting a refill, or if they call requesting to get that medication that they had asked for before, we now have a code in that you would use to get that request to the nurse to fill. So how it goes is the client calls in, says, I need Galliprant for my dog. So instead of putting the Galliprant item in the medical history and printing the label as a direct request from the client, you're going to put in the FTRX code. FTRX, fill this RX. You put the code in, you put the notes of Galliprant. Putting that code in creates an action within Avamark that takes it and puts it on the lab nurse's work list of messages. Then when they check that, they can click go to patient, and they'll end up in the record where they can confirm the dose. They can confirm that the patient's eligible for a refill. Then they actually enter the item, fill it themselves, package it, and put it ready to be picked up. Any other notes can go in the work list message that they'll see as well. So lab nurses, make sure that you read the message and don't just click go to patient. You have to do the whole step. This whole process we're hoping will prevent us from double filling medications. Just yesterday I was in the doctor's office and I saw a customer care team come in and say, hey, we had another prescription double filled. I'm not quite sure how that's happening if you're following this process. If everyone is participating in the way. So I'm not just talking to customer care. I'm not just talking about nurses. You teams have to work together and follow this process to prevent that from happening. Nurses, please be aware to check and make sure nothing is double filled. You have to. It's critical. So y'all, we have to do better. The last thing one of the last things that I wanted to say about doing better is we are having a huge void in filling in our new client forms. Here's an example. In the month of April, we had 434 new clients. Awesome number. I am so proud of us for that. What I'm not so proud of is that 247 of those new clients did not have a new client form filled out. What? How does this happen? I want to make sure that you understand the importance of it, because after that, you can figure out how to prevent it from happening. A new client form helps us to complete a new client record and get all of the contact information that we need, which is critical for all the reasons that you know. Furthermore, a new client form helps us to connect with the client to figure out how they heard about us. A referral type is so important for me to do my job to continue to grow our practice, because that tells me how to spend our marketing money. If I don't know where new clients are coming from, it's like shooting in the dark. I have to try everything, and it wastes money. All that money that comes from the raise pool. Really important for you to know how that works. So you have to get a referral type from a client. But overarching and most important, a new client form gives us consent to treat patients. So that means that more than 2/3 of the time in the month of April, we did not get written consent to treat a new patient. Y'all, this is astounding and disappointing all in one. I can't even fathom how it happens. There's no one person to blame. There's no one department to blame. We're all responsible for this, and it's got to be fixed right now. So, new clients who come in have got to complete that new client form, and that form has to be entered as a new client. It needs to be entered immediately when they come and a record filled out. I am sympathetic when a client comes in on an emergency basis and the team wants to get to treating that patient immediately. I'm not trying to distract from that or slow that down from happening. But I am trying to tell you that treatment for a patient or stabilization for a patient is very rarely that emergent that it has to happen, or that we're even capable of doing it faster than a client can fill out the form. As well as you have got to get the consent before you do those things, and verbal is not enough. So it's a stretch of the imagination to blame that exclusively on why we're not getting it done. I'd like to see you reflect as groups to figure out why and how, But overall, I'm just telling you that it needs to happen and that we're going to begin to hold you all accountable for it immediately. It's got to be fixed, and I want it to be fixed immediately. So everyone's responsible for making sure that new client form is filled out, specifically the person who checks the client in, and that'll be the person who gets held accountable. So no matter what time of day it is or what position you're in, if you're checking a client in and they've never been here before, you know it, and you're responsible for getting that form completed, all fields completed, including the referral type and the consent signature at the bottom, as well as you're responsible for having it entered and scanning it in. That's just how it goes. So please make sure that you understand your role and your responsibilities and that you're able to do it. It's critical. The last thing that I want to share about as a kind of final fuss is, as a team, we've got to do better at helping ourselves. I understand sometimes that some things break that you're unable to fix or you're unsure of how to fix. And it's working really well that you leave me workless messages for those things. However, what I want everybody to understand is, as a company with our size and our capacity and our core values, we do not accept mediocrity and we do not gimp along. If you feel like you are gimping along or working around something that's broken constantly, aggravate me. Aggravate your manager. Stay after it. That's how things get fixed. Make noise. Be annoying. You have to be in our face about things that are broken. And I might give you the same answer 3 or 4 times, and I promise it's always the truth. I'm never going to lie to you. Like, if I say I'm working on it, sometimes things just take the time. Bennett is one person, and he is our one person who can fix things. And he has to prioritize things that sometimes are by his availability, sometimes are by the cost, or sometimes are within the realm of things that he can do at that moment. However, it's what keeps things on the list. So here's an example. I learned yesterday that the computer monitor in exam room 3 wasn't working. So the team just went on without it working. They sent me a workless message. I sent a side note to say, hey, this is how you fix it. This is something that you can do. Please let me know if this doesn't work. And then there was no communication back. No one came and found any manager. No one came and asked for any other solution. Just worked around the problem. That's not acceptable. That's mediocrity. And we're a company who's dedicated to excellence. So I want to know what we'll do differently going forward. I'm hoping that you'll each be able to tell me that you will not accept mediocrity, that you will be better going forward, and that you'll make sure that if you don't have the supply that you need, or the equipment that you need, or the help that you need to do your job, that you'll come directly to us and mention it. We have a manager on call 24/7. Call them. I'm available to you constantly. Dr. Patrick, Melinda, your department managers, all want to know if you're unable to do your job. But it's your job to speak up about what you need to do that. So please, everyone, respond to that and understand that's your responsibility going forward. Do not ever accept mediocrity. If you do, you can't work here. That's not what we're about. We're about excellence. We're about creating the wow. We're about building relationships. We're about making a difference, continuous self-improvement, all of those things. So make sure that you get that and own that and respect that. And if you're not contributing to it, you're taking from it. So be sure that you're a contributor and not a taker. All right, y'all, that's it for this week. Sorry it was a long one. Lots of important things going on as we're in our busy summer, though. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for the people who worked this Memorial Day. I know that was a sacrifice, and please know we appreciate you, especially for doing that. Thanks so much, y'all. Have a good day.